What's going on, everyone? So the San Antonio Spurs waived Jamaree Boye, and he was just on a two-way contract, but what that does is it frees up a spot on a two-way. And clearly, they waived him with the intention of bringing in somebody else, which is very interesting because was good in Summer League, was actually very good in the G League, did a little bit of everything. Gave him 17 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 2.5 steals, or 2.1 steals, and 1.4 blocks per game. Now, he's a little undersized at 6'2". He's not this big forward or anything like that, but he is a guy that showed a lot of promise and kind of does beg the question of okay, well, if the Spurs waived him, what is the plan? Who are they bringing in? What is the goal, right? What do the Spurs need and what are they interested in? And one guy that is now available that I think is very interesting, and also the timing of waiving, Jamaree, is Blake Hinson, right? So the Lakers, for those that don't know, the Lakers waived Blake Hinson, who they were very high on, for a center in Christian Coloco, who the San Antonio Spurs were also very interested in, but he ultimately chose the Lakers, right? Well, Blake Hinson was a surprising wave by many in Lakers Nation, and many fans of the Lakers are not happy about this because he is a just absolute shooter, right? Bucket getter. Dude is one of, if not the best shooters in this draft, and guy that has good size. He's very raw. He doesn't give you much outside of shooting the three ball right now, and he is older. But Blake Hinson does make sense for the Spurs, right? Talk about a guy, again, that 6'8" in size, kind of almost like a linebacker style. He's more bully ball, kind of run through you. He's got good lower center of gravity, but just can shoot the lining off the ball. The guy is unbelievable in that regard. Now, as all shooters can be, right, get very hot and cold, right? I mean, you've even seen it in Summer League. There's games where he's 9 of 11 from 3, but you see, he also had games where he was 0 of 5, and then he finished the game 6 of 11, and you're wasn't he 0 and 5? The guy is just, when he's on and he's cooking, he's on and he's cooking. But with his size, he has the versatility, right? He makes a lot of sense for the Spurs at the 4 alongside Victor Wembanyama, right? His ability to shoot the basketball and his 6'8" size and just his big physical frame, he's a guy that you could have stretch out and let Chris Paul generate and run different sets and actions with Blake Hinson as a movement shooter, because he's capable of being a movement shooter. And I just think you'd open up all kinds of opportunities for him. I think he's a guy that, could go get you maybe even double figures a night on average, just because, again, what Chris Paul would be able to generate. And, even a Devin Vassell when he's kind of cooking and doing his thing, right? Obviously, Victor Wembanyama and him down in the post and having that kick-out shooter. Blake Hinson makes a lot of sense. And if anybody can mask Blake Hinson on the defensive side of things, it's Victor Wembanyama. Talk about arguably, if not the best defender in the league as a rookie. In his size, his length, his versatility on the defensive side, because he's so long, he's 7'4" with an 8-foot wingspan. The guy can just close out and close the gap so well. So you can have a guy in Blake Hinson that on offense can just get hot and light it up at any given night, but also could be that big physical just bully on the block. But defensively, you can have him just kind of slotted to where he can at least just funnel the guy into Victor, but also kind of hold his own down in the interior, right? If he gets switched on a big guy, right? his ability to kind of just, buckle down and then use that lower center of gravity to really just not get bullied, I think could go a long way. Obviously, you just look at him and his shooting is what people immediately jump to. And, he's this shooter, he's this, he's that. But he is a guy that has shown the ability to put the ball on the deck and make some plays and, hit some shots. He's raw. He's definitely a development guy, right? He went undrafted for a reason. A lot of that is because he's a development guy and because of his age, right? Blake Hinson isn't, 19 years old. Blake Hinson was 19 years old. He probably would have been top 3 to 5 drafted. But he's 24 years old. He'll be 25 in December, right? So this is a guy that, you need to understand what he is and what you're getting and gaining from it, right? But he's also a guy that you're not looking to come in and be a star. You're not looking to come in and even necessarily play 30 minutes a game. I mean, obviously, if it's one of those nights where he's just lights out, then yeah, keep him in the game. Let him keep cooking, right? You don't want to, keep feeding the hot hand. But you look at the Spurs' current roster, and he just makes so much sense as a piece that they need. He just makes so much sense as that movement shooter, that spot-up catch-and-shoot three-point shooter that could really, add value alongside, a Victor Wembanyama. And because of his size, I think that is a big advantage that you'd have, right? So you can kind of mask him more on the defensive side of things. And where if he was like 6'5", it's like, man, he's either playing the 2 or the 3, and he's just going to get torched, right? At the power forward spot, you're not really that worried about it, right? Like, power forwards in today's NBA are closer to, like, the Blake Hinsons, right? They're usually like 6'8", 6'9", and they're not like these hyper athletes. I mean, obviously you get a guy like an Aaron Gordon, but Aaron Gordon's like 28% in that weak side corner 3. Right? Like Blake Hinson could just sag off of him and just like wait. Like you look at most of most of the power forwards in the league, and they're all kind of similar size and stock to a Blake Hinson. So I don't think that Blake Hinson would have a hard time defending at the 4 position. Again, I'm not expecting him to come in and be this like lockdown defensive guy, but that's also why you play him, in my opinion, alongside Victor, right? You have him out there with Victor and Chris Paul and stuff, like guys that can not only get him the ball where he needs, and just imagine how easy things would be for Blake Hinson playing alongside Chris Paul. And for Chris Paul to have just that shooter that's out on the perimeter, just prowling around and just, moving from side to side, and Chris Paul's able to create and just kick it out to that guy. At worst, he comes in and he's your, he becomes your Doug McDermott type guy, right? Where, you're playing him 12 to 15 minutes a game, and you give him the green light, and you say every time you touch the ball, you put that shot up, and you make it happen, right? Like, I think it makes sense. And I wouldn't be shocked if this is actually who they bring in. It's just also odd that, that they waive a guy right when he becomes available. Now, that doesn't mean that it is for him, but it does make sense, right? And, he's a guy that I could see the Spurs valuing and going like, hey, man, this could be our shooter. This could be the guy that we could bring in and potentially have him just be that off-ball guy alongside Chris Paul, alongside Victor Wembanyama. And I think his size, I think is his biggest advantage. Right, because at 6'8", he's just more versatile. You can slot him in different areas. You can do different things with him that you can't do with, say a 6'4", 6'5" guy, right? And just his ability to allow him to slot in at the 4 and have Victor Wembanyama there to kind of back him up, make sure that he's okay. I just think can really go a long way. So I think Blake Hinson makes a lot of sense, and I wouldn't be shocked if the Spurs end up bringing him in. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you think like, yeah, Blake Hinson, that's the guy, bring him in, make it happen? Do you think, no, like, you go get a big man, go get, you know, more versatile Wayne? You know, do you think, like, he doesn't really do much besides that and he's too old, right? Because, again, I mean, that's why he went undrafted, right? If he was 19, 20, probably would have been a top 5 pick in this year's draft. But because he's 24, going to be 25, you know, 2 months into the season or a month and a half into the season, you know, that's why he is in the position that he's in. But again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. We enjoy these types of videos. Truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.